Hey, y'all, listen, what's on my dress? Happy, what's today? Help me out. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, y'all, and welcome in the building. Listen, I'm gonna give y'all a upfront disclaimer here. My upfront disclaimer is one, you need to buckle your seatbelt. Two, if you're not ready for the conversation, it is okay, but I'm going to have the conversation. Tonight's trending topic is called bad decisions. And you know, a lot of times people, when it comes to the people they love, whether it's a celebrity, their local pastor, someone they see on their TV, their news anchor, when they're being accused of something or something happens, they're like, no way. No way did Beyonce do that. No way, not Jay-Z. No way, not this person or that person or so forth and so on. See, here's the thing. A lot of times these predators, they're allowed to exist for centuries, decades, years, days, or whatever, because people think, no way, not that in particular person. Okay. So I'm sure a lot of people, when they sent their kids to the Boy Scouts, they thought, no way would this leader who's a father, who's an uncle, who seems so nice, who comes and pick my son up because I don't have a car to get them to certain activities, that promise when I'm at work, they're going to watch over them. No way would that person touch my child. You want to say no way? I should probably change the title of this trending topics. Talk about no way. I'm sure many people want to say, no way did these priests do this to our kids. Like, no way. I'm sure the first people that went and said, listen, Sean Combs, Diddy, he did XYZ to me. So they was like, no way. You're human. We all fall short. And even if you are a known name, at the top of your game, save many lives, maybe sometimes, unfortunately, nobody helped save yours. So with TD Jakes, people were like, no way. All I want to say is we're going to have the conversation. Be open. Be ready, because we're going to talk about it. Because while we're saying no way, somebody's son, somebody's nephew, somebody's cousin, somebody's brother is being violated. And the violator don't get stopped. Why? Because we're like, no way, not that person. They would never. So what am I talking about? Tonight's trending topic is called bad decisions. We got Pastor Tony Evans steps down. And he said, you know, he committed some sin a couple years ago. And he needs to sit himself down. He's going to continue to go to the church. But in the meantime, all the elders of the church are going to surround him. And I'm paraphrasing, guys. If you go to church, you understand what I'm saying. They're going to surround him. They're going to help him work through his sin and do better. And so I say this because many people's like, oh, Diva, it could be infidelity. Infidelity, you would say it, in my opinion. Not going to leave it this mysterious sin. I have my thought process about it. I have my theories about it. But we collectively are going to talk about it. We'll do that. And Roberta said he met his current wife when his wife was on her deathbed. That I know. But I think her spouse also died too. So it was almost like grieving people coming together. It's a lot. My real issue is not the wife he met while his wife was on her deathbed. Got other issues, other sprinklings and breadcrumbs that are being laid around. And if you in the black church and you know about the black church, then you heard the sprinklings. So it ain't divas spreading rumors. The breadcrumbs are there. I just followed them, and we're going to talk about it. Bad decisions. Over 50 years, darn near almost in the ministry. Bad decisions. Then we got a four-top singer. He's suing a hospital. He said that he went to the hospital. He has known heart pain, heart issues. He has a stent in his heart. He has a defibrillator. Yeah, come on, Roberta. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know what's interesting, though? I'll back up to that story for a minute. It's interesting, depending upon who the person is, we accept all kinds of excuses. But if it's your neighbor, if it's Diddy, they're dirty, they're mean, they're nasty, lock them up, throw them up underneath the jail. But if it's somebody you love, we reserve all judgment, all speech, all conversation. And to our guests, like the other day when we saw the video of Cassie and Diddy putting her hands on her. But everybody else we could talk about, but I'm going to move on. Let me get to this four-top singer story. He said he went to the hospital and he let them know only for security purposes. He said that, he let them know, like, I'm a singer. I'm in this group or whatever. For whatever reason, they thought he was stark raving crazy. Talking about he's part of the four tops. Now, I don't think he was original four top. I think because they used those names and they had other people still perform under that group name, but it's not the original members. So he said, I'm a four top. He was talking about it. They thought he was crazy. They ordered a psych eval. They told him to get undressed and they put him in a straitjacket. Put him in a straitjacket. He was begging to show them videos and evidence that he was who he said he was. It was like, no, shut up. They said it a different way, but I'm going to let y'all hear it. Put him in a straitjacket, ordered a psych eval. Finally, one nurse listened to him. And she saw the video where he said, this is me. I am who I say I am. What are you doing with a psych eval? She ran out the room. She spoke to the doctor and them. They came back and said, oh, shoot, oops. And I'm paraphrasing that. They're like, oops. Take off the straitjacket. We don't need a psych eval. Okay, we're going to move on. He's suing now for racism. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it. Bad decisions. You ordering a psych eval? I mean, it was crazy. You're going to see it. Then our last story, the bad decision is this coach. What is with the teachers thinking they could put their hands on the kids? You have got to be dumb, stupid, or both when you out here wilding out knowing that cameras are everywhere. You can get away with nothing these days. Cameras are everywhere. Yeah, they are. The cameras are everywhere. So you got the cameras everywhere. The coach got mad at the student. He goes and tries to pretty much choke up the student. Who are they hiring these days? Where do they do that at? And now the student, his mama said he got back pain, his neck hurt, he's humiliated, he can't go back outside, he's going to see his therapist, a psychiatrist, the chiropractor, and he's working his mind out to see if he can even go back to school, and they suing the school and the coach. Now, this coach, your whole life is destroyed because you want to go put your hands on somebody else's kid. I couldn't be no teacher and work with these kids these days. Because the kids got mouths on them. And you know what? I'm going to let you go. You go. Okay, go. All right, that's whatever. Go ahead on. But you're going to get so mad you got no control over your emotions. You're going to run after this kid, yank him up, and now the kid, you done, sir. You're done. And I'm sure he's going to get locked up if he's not already behind bars somewhere. Oh, Roberta, I'm sorry about this. A pastor molested an underage family member. I told him and he went to prison for 4 years. People attacked me left and right until he went to prison. I believe you. Because there's this saying out there, don't you dare say a bad word against the man of God. And I'm here to tell you, if the person standing in the pulpit is slimy, grimy, and everything else, then I'm sorry. That's not a man of God. And yes, maybe they got the word in their mouth. And yes, we're not going to take back. Maybe they saved thousands of lives. I'm happy. They're grateful for that. But they could have saved thousands and destroyed just as many as they saved. So because they saved thousands, we're going to trump the fact that what they did. Now, come on now. We're not doing that. If you did what you did, you got to pay for what you did, and we can still pray for you. That's what people got to understand. We could call out the behavior and still pray for you. Yes, we can. Q said, I know a teacher who pinned a kid against the wall to keep him from continuing to beat up on him. The teacher got fired even though he was defending himself. It's a thin line. It's a thin line. It's very messy. Very messy. But see, that's why they can't get people to teach. You got to protect the teachers. And maybe we need a security in every room. I don't know what it is, but listen, God bless the teachers, not me. Now, y'all, like I told y'all, catch the train, don't catch feelings, buckle your seatbelt, because we are going to have the conversation. The conversation is going to happen tonight. Because what I want for people to understand is, no one has the right to touch you. You have the right to speak your truth, regardless of the position that you're about to, of the person that you're about to speak about is in. If you work for Kanye West and Kanye West violated you, you have the right to say so. Y'all ready? We're going to talk about it. I need a what in the chat, y'all. Come on now. Hit the like button, y'all. Diva working. Hit the like button. I need a what in the chat, y'all. I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Thursday night trending topics, and we got something to talk about. Bad decisions. We got Pastor Tony Evans. He steps down after almost 50 years as a pastor, okay? We got a four-top singer. He is suing a hospital for discrimination. And we got the coach at the school thinking it was okay to put his hands on the student. Well, now he in big trouble, honey, because the student said his back hurt, his neck hurt, his mind hurt, and he's suing the school and the coach. That's right. Hashtag bad decisions. Let me just bring the people on in the building. Hold on one second. Hey, Savannah. Hey, Katrina. Hey, Felicia. Oops. Hold on one second. Hey, Felicia. Hey, E. Hey, Dadon.
Hey.
Hey, Julius. Did I leave somebody out? Hey, Tay. All right, y'all. Down the building, we're going to talk about it. I might as well get this story out the way because I was getting a beat down. I was going to beat down before it even came up. So I might as well go ahead and get it on out the way. We're going to talk about Pastor Tony Evans. Hold on one second. We got another passenger that just rolled up. Hey, Wayne, you're in the building. Welcome. Okay, we're going to talk about this Pastor Tony Evans story. But let me first share my screen. Let me see. Here it is. I'll play this first.
Pastor Dr. Tony Evans stepped aside from leading the 10,000-member Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. Evans cited a past sin as the reason for the move after more than 40 years at the pulpit. Our 4 Stephen Dial live with what Evans told the congregation. Stephen.
Yeah, the news was a big shock to the faith-based community nationwide. And Evans, who recently got married, said that he committed no crime, but committed a sin. Sunday, renowned Dallas pastor Dr. Tony Evans told his congregation he would be stepping away from his senior pastoral duties. Evans spoke to the congregation, but it was not part of the recording posted to the church website, which featured lead associate pastor Bobby Gibson.
Good morning, Oak Cliff. Come on, clap, 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 clap.
Evans grew the congregation of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship to 10,000 members, serving as pastor for more than 40 years. Evans said the foundation of his ministry is the commitment to the Word of God as the supreme standard. In a statement, he went on to say, "A number of years ago, I fell short of that standard. I am therefore required to apply the same biblical standard of repentance and restoration to myself that I have applied to others." There's been much speculation as to what specifically caused Evans to step aside and for how long. He did not address that directly, but said, "While I have committed no crime, I did not use righteous judgment in my actions. In light of this, I am stepping away from my pastoral duties and am submitting to a healing and restoration process established by the elders." Evans' ministry was the genesis for former President George Bush's faith-based initiative. Bush visited the church in '98 during his campaign and returned as president for the dedication of the church's Christian Education Center.
He decided to become part of this special unveiling.
Evans also has ties to the Dallas Cowboys. His son, Jonathan, is the team chaplain. During his time with the Cowboys, Tony Romo worked with Evans, donating $1 million to his urban initiative. Romo's donation led to the nationwide expansion of the program, where churches adopted public schools and provided mentoring and other services. Now, the statement also went on to say that the leadership will advise the congregation on the next steps forward. Again, we don't know if Evans is just stepping down temporarily or if this will be permanent.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just share my screen again. Texas. Let me just pause this 1 second. All right. So Texas mega pastor Tony Evans resigns after nearly 50 years over mysterious sin. A mega pastor in Texas has stepped down from his congregation after nearly 50 years while confessing to committing a mystery sin. Dr. Tony Evans, 74, resigned as the lead pastor of Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship Church in Dallas on Sunday, breaking the news to his followers in a statement on the church website. The foundation of ministry has always been our commitment to the Word of God as the absolute supreme standard of truth to which we are to conform our lives. When we fall short of that standard due to sin, we are required to repent and restore our relationship with God, Evans wrote in his statement. A number of years ago, I fell short. of that standard, Evans says. I am therefore required to apply the same biblical standard to repentance and restoration to myself that I have applied to others. Evans, a former chaplain for both the Dallas Cowboys and the Mavericks, stated he's committed no crime, but did not use righteous judgment in my actions. In light of this, I'm stepping away from my pastoral duties and submitting to a healing and restoration process established by the elders. Evans wrote, This will afford me a needed time of spiritual recovery and healing. The elder board of his ministry said they are obligated to govern the church in accordance with the scriptures. Dr. Evans and the elders agree that when any elder or pastor falls short of the high standards of the scripture, the elders are responsible for providing accountability and maintaining integrity in the church statement spread. Evans urged his congregation members to continue without him, as he said associate pastor Bobby Gibson would guide the church forward. During this time, it is critical that the ministry of OCBF continue to as vibrantly as ever. Remember, you serve the Lord Jesus Christ, not a man. Can I say that to the people out there before y'all come at our next? Remember, you serve the Lord Jesus Christ and not a man, he wrote. Further details on what sin Evans committed in his past that prompted him to step down from his tenured position were not shared. Evans says he intends to continue to worship at Oak Cliff during the process. Longtime church member James Harris Jr. was in shock over the popular pastor's abrupt resignation. He's a staple in the community, Harris Jr. told CBS News. I think he is one of the most known pastors in the nation. The Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship was started by Evans in 1976 as a Bible study group, according to the church website. It has grown to over 10,000 members and 100 different ministries, reaching people locally and abroad. Evans, who is also the author of several best-selling worship books, hosts the daily worldwide radio show, The Alternative, which airs in over 130 countries. His statement did not clarify if he would be stepping away from those duties. Savannah, you're up.
Good evening, Diva. Good evening, panel. Wow. So, and I'm not familiar with this pastor or church, but what I'm receiving from this story is cover up, because in order to confess our sins, it's to make an admission that we did something wrong before God and others. And according to, and I'm on the Archdiocese website now, confessions of sins is the public or spoken acknowledgement of either personal or collective guilt. And it's seen as a necessary step in order to receive divine forgiveness. So by labeling something a mysterious sin, you're continuously covering up whatever his professed sin is that he did a couple years ago. I agree. I don't think it's infidelity, because that would be spoken of. I saw on another channel that in situations like this, it's either an unalive girl or a live boy, and I think that's what we're all. I know that's what I was receiving from the story as well. This has been no secret. It's been since the inception of the Christian church and Catholicism, um, with the Catholic Church taking the brunt of the media scrutiny because of all their scandals that they've had that date back way to the 1970s, if not beyond. But in the 70s, 80s was when these incidents started becoming public. And I recall seeing a special, I believe it's on PBS, in regards to this issue of people in power who profess to carry the word of God or have some ranking in the church, how they put that take that power on others. And we have to be careful with our words tonight, and think before we speak, because this is a very sensitive subject. That there can be up to 3 to 4 million children across the world who have been preyed upon, and I don't mean preyed by the hands of the Lord. So it to me, it just seems that they're continuing with the cover up by him not being honest with his congregation and his followers of what the sin is. Because in order to be completely forgiven, there has to be acknowledgement.
I appreciate you, Savannah. Katrina, you're up. Katrina, are you there?
Are you there, Diva?
Yes.
Um, since I got to be correct with my words, let me word this correctly. You never put your faith in a man because a man will fail you every time. Jesus said, you do not have to go to a church for congregation. You can congregate at your house. And there's nothing wrong with going to church and doing all that. But for him to step down, he had to do something mighty bad for them to tell him to step aside. The congregation know what he did, but they're not putting it out there. So what he's doing is he's stepping aside, I guess, because he knows something's going to come out against him. So he's trying to step back so the church will still go on, but he had to did something that he knows that's gonna be a backlash. He knows is getting ready to come out. Somebody's finna tell on him because you've been dealing with this sin for a long time, and now you just decide to step away from the congregation. Why? Because somebody's telling you they're finna come for you. So that's why he's trying to step away. As I think, I'm not for sure. I'm just saying. But hopefully, whatever he did, God forgives everybody. So whatever he did, maybe he can be forgiven. Well, he can be forgiven if he asks for forgiveness, if he repent the right way and not keep doing the same thing. Because a lot of people repent but still fall back and redo the same thing and do it again. So hopefully, whatever he's going through, whatever the church know he's going through, maybe they can find a resolution to that. That's all I got, Diva.
I appreciate you. Felicia, you're up.
Well, good evening, everyone. So, I think it was last week we did a story about Justin Bieber's pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I said then, and I'm going to be consistent again tonight, pastors have a greater enemy in the sense that they are considered the shepherds of the flock. And it is not uncommon. In fact, it's supposed to be part of the norm for pastors to have prayer warriors around them to keep them on that righteous path. And when they do fall short, that they're able to come to some form of conviction sooner than later and confess. Based on what you read to me and what I've read, the man said he committed no crime. And so I'm going to accept that. He says it was a sin some time ago. And it's really bubbling over for him right now. I don't know if this has anything to do with any minors in any way, and I'm not going there. But if you ask me what I thought initially, I'm thinking it's adultery, something pretty bad. I wish him the best in his healing. He is 74 years of age. It was time for him to step down. And hopefully those in that church, the believers, the righteous, will be able to amend and fix it and move forward.
Thank you, Felicia. I appreciate you. Julius, you're up.
These types of statements irk my nerves. Irk my nerves. You want to say face, so you want to say, I commit, like, okay, we had a story just the other night. Example, Carl Lentz, he did the exact same thing. I committed an unforgivable blah, blah, blah. Of course you did. And I don't care that he's 74 years old. He knows better. If I know better at 31, he knows better at 74. But it makes me question, what was the sin that was so bad that made you leave your church? because you probably could have still been given a second chance, even if it was just adultery. Because everybody in the church, one way or another, they have slept with everybody. Let's just call it a thing. But what was the unforgivable sin? As the Don's picture say, just say no. I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you. Julius, 48, you're up.
Hey Diva. Okay, so I kind of want to piggyback off of Savannah. It is very much true that, you know, in order to get forgiveness, we need to know what we forgiven you for. And I do find it amazing that they cherry pick the word to fit like their situation. You know what I'm saying? He's a pastor. He knows, you know, that he should be doing it all the way, like confessing and letting people know. And I wonder also, Diva, if this will bring out other pastors' secrets. I mean, I know it was like little things spoken about TD Jakes with Diddy and stuff, but these pastors also like hang around each other, and you know, so I wonder if this is going to be like a windfall. Like, is other pastors going to be at these conventions or whatever happened? You know, it was something else. Oh yeah, and also I don't think that it's genuine because what I think Miss Felicia or Julia said, or Kat, I don't remember, but one of them said that someone's coming for them. Someone's coming for them. So I don't respect it, because if you were truly like hurt by it, you would have came way before 70 years old to let the church know, to just go ahead and get it off your back. You know what I'm saying? So for me, that's why I don't respect it. I don't respect it if someone has to tell you wrong, or someone has to threaten you, you know, to do something or let something be out for you to get that you're wrong. So yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So what happens in these situations, and I'm coming to you, Don, right? If you spill out the whole truth, they can't keep hanging it and hovering over your neck. And I personally don't think it's just infidelity, because I think he would have said that.
And Diva, can I say this too? I also agree with Julius when he said adultery is something that most churches will forgive their pastors for. Like John Gray is a very popular pastor.
Come on now, you better talk.
You know, that cheated on his wife a lot. You know, so I don't think that it's adultery. I think it's something egregious for him, one, not to want to tell. I mean, this guy, I remember in my foster home, my foster mother used to watch this guy. You know what I'm saying? So it's just no excuses for me.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Don, you're up.
Let me first start by saying this. All pastors are not crooks. All pastors are not criminals. All pastors are not adulterers. All pastors are not stealing your money.
Come on now.
There are some fantastic pastors, churches, ministries out here.
Amen.
So I'm going to first by saying that.
Yes, amen.
This particular situation rolls a hair on the back of my neck. Because he said that it's an old sin.
Come on, talk.
So if it's an old sin, Pastor, why didn't you receive your forgiveness a while ago?
You better talk.
Why didn't you go through your process with the elders of the church a while ago, since it's old? You started this process because you knew, they know, the family knows something is about to come out. And you're trying to get ahead of the situation, but you're not getting ahead of the situation because your whole statement left the imagination go wild. The way you get ahead of these situations is to just speak your truth. People can't blackmail you if you put it all out.
Come on.
and this is going into my B. I'm sounding like a pastor. Like this is going into my B because it sounds like blackmail. It sounds like this man has been caring for, paying for somebody or something for a long time. And it stopped. An argument happened. Something happened that now all of a sudden your old sin has caught up with you. That old sin just it doesn't rock well with me. And I know that, you know, it was spoken of about his wife, his current wife, who he married in October. That I just don't, that situation doesn't sit well with me. Your associate minister who passed, your current wife, your wife passed, and you marry your associate minister's widow. Your character is not checking. You could have gone anywhere, but you inside your church being messy, and you're the leader. You're the leader of the church. You're who everybody's eyes are on. And you decide to marry somebody who has been in your church, but was somebody else's wife. That doesn't sit well with me. That speaks to a character flaw. And then, you know, you've been receiving all this money and, you know, from all these stars and athletes, and Kirk Franklin is a prominent member of his church, and I'm pretty sure he gives quite a bit of money. There are other, you know, names and celebrities that have been members of his church. But Pastor Evans, this is a messy situation that you've gotten yourself into. All pastors, like I said, are not perfect. They're humans. They make mistakes. But you have to handle your mistakes accordingly. This is definitely, in my opinion, a blackmail situation. There's some types of, you know, video and text and for your own daughter, for your own family to not have Anthony Evans, Tony Evans, his son is a singer. Prashir Shire is a prominent pastor. She hasn't opened her mouth. Nobody has defended their dad. The children haven't said, you know, I stand with my dad. Nobody has said anything. Even in the Jake situation, a few of his kids say, I stand with my dad. Nobody has, his children hasn't mentioned the word. So Pastor Evans, to the flock, you need to get it together, sir. And you should have gotten it together years ago because it was old sin.
Come on now.
But you seem to have waited until the sin caught up on you. Like we said earlier in this year, this is the year of exposure, and it seems to be happening in the church. It was Whitehead, it was Jakes, it was other pastors. Now it's Pastor Evans. Y'all better straighten up, because these people are coming after you. Y'all sending text messages.
Come on.
Y'all sending text and videos, and like these people aren't saving these things.
Come on.
Saving it for a rainy day, just in case you decide to say, no, I'm not giving you no more money. Something happened, some pictures, text, videos, something was sent to somebody or sent back to him. It's pretty peculiar for all. It's just all of a sudden I'm stepping down. It don't sit right with me. Your character is already on shaky ground with your new wife. And, you know, all of a sudden now this stuff comes up. Isn't it funny how he got married in October and now he's stepping down?
Come on now.
I just don't, it don't add up to me. 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. That's it.
Talk. You better talk. You better say that word. And see, you know what? Before you let somebody blackmail you, and this is general I'm talking now, say expose me. Expose me. Somebody came to me one time and said, so-and-so said you this, you that, you that. I said, well, say it. Go ahead. Say whatever they said, I said or did, say it. because I'm not going to operate in the dark. Let's bring this thing to the light. You have something you want to say it. Somebody said I said something, let's say it. Bring it to the light, because you're not going to hold it over my head. Something ain't right. The math ain't mathing. And I get it. It's not going to negate, all the great sermons he gave, the many people he saved and baptized. This ain't like no honorary degree. We can't take all of that back, but we will address what happened. You're up.
I'm not too familiar with this story, but when we mention sin is something we all crash into in one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And as imperfect human beings, we are tested in different ways. It sounds like this is a sexual temptation on just from me not knowing much about the story.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't. Oh, how can I say this? I'll put it this way. We all have our temptations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me, I battle with food, okay? I have an unhealthy relationship with ice cream and sweets. I've said that before. But that's not a sin. I'm going to go to my supervisor and resign from my position. Do you get what I'm saying?
Come on now.
In most cases, when you are resigning from a position of
You gotta
leadership,
talk. Oh, shoot. Come on, talk.
and the word sin is mentioned, it is used in the context, which is congruent to illegal or unethical. It's a synonym. And because this is not only a church for this man, this is a business. And so for something egregious to be coming down the pipeline, let's say, for instance, you got one of those Cassie calls, now you're ready to forfeit involuntarily or voluntarily. That means it can only be of a few things: fun embezzlement and unaliving, essay, or a homosexual act that you don't want anybody to know about. The key word in his statement was this was due to sin committed a number of years ago. And the first thing that went through my mind when you read that was I just made the inference that someone younger was involved. In my opinion, this man is not battling alcoholism, drugs, or infidelity among adults who are of age or of a different gender, because those sins are run of the mill, which have been commercialized, normalized, or glorified, if you will, quote unquote. I know that wasn't a good word, but those are not sins which would get you indicted on federal or state charges. Those are not things that people can sue you for ordinarily. And so now that I'm looking at this, and this is a man of the cloth, the first thing that one would do in this type of situation, coming from his background, especially being a senior of the cloth, when you are seeking forgiveness, you recognize the sin, you forsake the sin, and you confess it. He says it's an old sin, but that is untrue. It is not an old sin. It is a current sin because he still has not admitted to what the sin is. He still has not recognized it in the front of the people in which he serves, and he has not forsaken it and confessed it. And so that's the first step listed within our holy book. We must take in order to seek redemption. And so this indicates to me that he is still not trying to seek redemption or forgiveness or even make any type of restitution to who or what he has violated. In my opinion, he is operating out of a place filled with fear, or possibly ego, and he is still trying to salvage whatever glorified image he believes he still has. And he wants to come out of this without admitting any guilt. That's the key thing. He doesn't want to admit anything, and it doesn't work like that. The wall will still fall down, but it's better you knock the wall over than for somebody to knock your wall in when you least expect it.
You better talk, E. They said, listen to the people.
Amen.
They will tell on themselves, right? And so he said, I didn't commit any crime. He could have simply said, I have sinned. The sin took place a couple years ago or a few years ago, whatever. But he made sure he used that word crime in there. Tay, did I skip you? You're up.
No, ma'am. All I said, collect the plate for Dawn and Eve. And my question is, how long you keep this right here? The sin. It feel like had the world on your shoulder to carry the weight on you. And I feel bad for his kids and that second wife too. Because what's going on in that church? You know what they said, Diva? When you sweep under the rug, it just stay in there for forever until the secret is gonna come out under the rug right there. That's all, Diva.
I appreciate you. Veronica, if it was financial, I think he would have said it. And remember, he said in financial, if you're stealing from the church, stealing is stealing, then that's a crime. And he said out of his own mouth, he committed no crimes. Wayne, you're up.
You know, the Bible says all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Now, I'm a person of faith. It's not a person of the church. Okay. And I'm only going to go based on what the article said. I'm not going to read into whether he was this or that, whatever he did. Okay. Because most of them, they only admit it when they got caught red-handed and they're in front of the church and the church knows. Okay. So just because he committed a sin and he didn't say what it was, okay, you don't even know if he went to the elders and told the elders what it was. He could just say, I've sinned. Okay. He doesn't have to tell anybody. He's on his way out. He's 74 years old. He did what he felt was required to repent before God. Okay. I'm sure some of us, a whole lot of people would drop if they know things that others have done. This man is 74 years old. He stepped down. What more do you want him to do? You don't have to tell me what you did. You said you did something. You said you repented. That's all. So that's the way I feel about it. I mean, you know, to drag the man to try to find out, oh, what did you do? Well, what was the sin? I don't care what the sin was. He said he didn't commit a crime. Okay. And he said it was a long time ago. And maybe he doesn't want to dig it back up and he's been forgiven. But maybe now he just feels that, you know, I'm going to step down. You can't ask him to do no more. And unfortunately, you're probably not going to find out anymore. It's all going to be speculations. Well, I think he did this. He might be trying to hide this. He may have did something then or whatever. He should have come forth earlier, you know, regardless. Who's to say? The same way when a victim is SA 30 years ago and they come forth now. So I'm not going to, you know, and believe me, I ain't a church person. I'm not saying I don't believe, but I ain't stepping my foot in one. And when I pass, have it at the funeral home. Because I didn't pay no dues to a church. I didn't pay their tithes or anything. So I don't expect to be laid out in one. I'm done.
I appreciate you, Wayne. Felicia, I appreciate the super chat. Not a crime equals statute of limitations have passed, in my opinion.
Boom.
Come on, Nadon.
Can I say something, Diva?
Yeah, you can.
I don't think that that's the point of it, Wayne. And I think you said something very important when you said that you're not a church person. And the thing is that these are church people. And if he's the leader of the church, there are rules and protocols
you better talk.
that you have to do. Now, for people that are not in the church like that, we can't judge you because you don't know. But we can judge him because he know. And the word tells us to judge him. And so we have to, that's with anything, even if you go to court and you have an option, you could take the plea or you could, you could go to trial and plead your case, but you have to admit something in order for us to know what's going on. But I get totally what you're saying, but for a person that does go to church, he's wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong, but
Right.
he's wrong.
Hey, Diva, can I say one quick thing, please?
Yes, you can.
If the sin was so big back then, why not step down back then?
You better talk.
Why step down now?
Come on now.
After you've collected checks,
Come on.
after you've, you still have your businesses flowing.
Mm-hmm.
Why not step down when you committed the sin?
Come on.
Because there was an agenda behind it. Because in most churches, if a member or a praise team or a assistant pastor or a deacon or a trustee did anything, you have to step down immediately.
You better talk.
It ain't no I'm gonna wait 5, 6, 7, 8 years to step down. You have to step down immediately. You lose your position immediately. There's no option, there's no choice. So if it was an old sin, you should have stepped down with the old sin.
So let me say this, interesting enough. I'm gonna throw this in the conversation, and I'm coming to you, Katrina. It's interesting how I think it was a couple weeks ago, Pastor Keon, Shawnee O'Neal, Henderson, a husband, a woman was in the church in the choir. She was, praising God. He hushed her up. Shut up. Told her he only want to hear God's word, this, that, whatever else he said. And everybody was siding with this man. He was 100% in the right. She needed to be hushed. She was out of order and out of line. Now we have a pastor here that steps down, and it's okay because he's a pastor, I guess. He could just do whatever, say whatever, and handle it however he wants. I'm saying this. I'm not even, come on now, hush. Hush. Somebody hush her. So as the Don said, I brought that up to say that if you are a church member, you in the choir, you the usher, you the whomever, they're going to sit you down. All of a sudden, this sin from a few years ago is now just convicting him. Now he wants the elders to surround him and help him work his way through this. I'm not, this conversation is not, he's the catalyst to the conversation. But the bigger picture of this conversation is we got to wake up and stop looking up and worshiping a man regardless of their title, whether it's Jay-Z. Some people, you can't even say nothing about Beyonce. They want to cancel you. They don't know her. You say something about Beyonce, they want to cancel you. They will be 10 toes down. There's no way Jay-Z and Beyonce ever was at an FO party. Was y'all at all of them? How do you know who was there, who participated, who did not? How do you know? We don't know. It could be some of our favorite people. The Epstein and the Weinstein, there was a bunch of people there. They didn't tell us who. And they're not going to, because they don't want to tell on any of those individuals. So what happens is some of those individuals that were there were predators, they're still amongst us. Either you're going to stop a predator regardless of their name, their title, or their face, or you're going to let them live amongst us and keep destroying us. There is, hold on one second. Thank you for the super chat. When someone is the leader of the church flock, they are responsible to set the example for the people. You better talk about it, okay? Cowardice is a bad look and a bad example. You're the flock. You're the leader. They said, you want to know the temperament of a child? Look at their parents. You want to know the temperament of a church? Look at their leader. And I'm not saying that Tony Evans did this, but if I'm leading the church and I'm stealing, dealing and willing, sleeping with the whole flock, you better believe my deacons will probably think it's cool too. We got to wake up. We got to stand up with against wrong, regardless of who the face is. Katrina, you're up.
Diva, I had already spoke, but the
Oh,
only thing that I'm saying is with this situation, he said he didn't commit a crime. So if you didn't commit a crime, so was it adultery? Was it same sex relationship? If it's not a crime, so you stepping down now. And if people follow their pastor, look at Jamal Bryant, and they following him, knowing how many times he committed adultery. But it's neither here or there. That's all I got. I'm just saying the thing of it is, he said he didn't commit a crime. So what? I don't know. Oh Jesus, that's all I got. These give me a headache.
Hey Diva, one more quick thing. Let me give some context to the chat who's saying that there's no judgment. I need you to go to 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 12 through 13. Read it for yourself, comprehend it, and understand what it's saying.
Well, you better put the word out there.
Come on, Don.
You better put the word out there. I'm just saying that this is not about trying to condemn a person. This is about us educating ourselves and asking ourselves, why is it if Diva is accused of something, y'all ready to roll me under the bus? But if it's Beyonce being accused of the same thing, the first thing that come out your mouth is, there's no way. There's no way. You're like, no, not her, not him. People are people. We all fall short. And when somebody says something is amiss, something is amiss. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next story. I'm giving Dr. Evans a definite side eye. Remarrying your associate's pastor wife. Both spouses are gone, but I can understand why his children might, especially his daughters, felt away. Yeah, well, who wouldn't? And even the church. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and roll into this next story. You know, racism, unfortunately, is real. It happens in healthcare. It happens in insurance. It happens when you're buying a house. It happens when you're trying to sell your house. So many people, when you're trying to sell your house, they'll tell you take down all pictures, all evidence that can lead towards someone guessing who might already live there. So they call it staging your home. Stage your home, because people get crazy. But there's this singer in the group, the Four Tops. He said he went to the hospital. Let me see, where am I at? I hope I didn't close out on this. Okay, let's share screen.
Art, there was a problem, not your head.
Right.
Meet Alexander Morris, since 2019, the lead singer of Motown's original Four Tops. Did the people at the hospital believe you were the lead singer of the Four Tops?
They thought I was delusional.
Alexander was having chest pain on April 7th. He went to Ascension Hospital in Warren for treatment. He told them who he was because of potential security reasons, but
the head of security told him to sit his black down.
Now Alexander is about to file a racial discrimination lawsuit against the hospital.
He was treated like a mental patient rather than the successful black man that he is.
Do you think the people at the hospital mistreated you because of your race?
I do. I believe that it was initiated by racism.
There's an element of false imprisonment because my client was placed in a straitjacket. He was refused. They wouldn't let him leave. He said, okay, I'll seek care elsewhere. They refused and said he's not going anywhere.
People are talking about, well, here we go with racism again. Well, if somebody tells you to sit down, my mother has always told me that. My dad told me that. People in the church told me that. Chucky, sit down. When you say sit your black down, I think that's racial.
In a statement from Ascension Hospital, they said that we do not condone racial discrimination of any kind. We are unable to provide details on cases under investigation.
Racist is when you have a malicious intent to do harm or damage to someone because of your hatred of their color, their creed, their ethnicity.
In Detroit, Charlie Langton, Fox 2 News.
Whew. So Four Top singer Alexander Morris hospital didn't believe I was celeb, sues for discrimination. One of the Four Top singers is suing the hospital for racial discrimination, claiming white staffers sent him for a psych exam because they didn't believe he was famous. Alexander Morris, who joined the band in 2019 as a vocalist, filed suit against Michigan's Ascension Macomb Oakland Hospital, explaining he was rushed by the ambulance last April with chest pain and difficulty breathing. And when he got there, he told a nurse and security guard he was a member of the famous Motown band. And that is him right there. In the docs obtained by TMZ, AM says he wanted the hospital staff to know he was famous because of security concerns with stalkers and fans. But he says a white security guard and a white ER doctor didn't believe he was famous and figured he was mentally ill. Worse yet, according to him, they ordered a psychological exam instead of treating him for his clear symptoms of cardiac distress. In the suit, Alexander claims he asked if he could prove his celeb status by showing his identification, but says a white security guard ordered him to sit his black aide down. Alexander said he was taken off oxygen and strapped into a restraining jacket and was only released from the restraints after 90 minutes when he was finally able to show a nurse a video of him performing with the Four Tops at the Grammys. Instead of getting emergency care, Alexander claims he received a lower standard of care based on his race. Once the hospital realized who Alexander was, he claims he was ultimately diagnosed with a heart problem that may require a heart transplant plus pneumonia, and he says he suffered 3 seizures during his hospitalization. And get this, Alexander claims the hospital offered him a $25 supermarket gift card as an apology for the dehumanization and discrimination he faced at the hands of the hospital. He says he refused to accept the gift card. Alexander is going at the hospital for damages. Interesting, he's been making these claims publicly for a while, doing interviews locally. Now he's making it official in court. And the statement from the hospital says, the health, safety, and well-being of our patients, associates, and community members remain our top priority. We remain committed to honoring human dignity and acting with integrity and compassion for all persons in the community. We do not condone racial discrimination of any kind. Whew. Here we go. Savannah, you're up.
So not only was this incident racial in some nature, but there's also a lack of kindness and empathy here. Why does this man who is suffering a medical condition have to prove that he was a celebrity? He's a patient. So I think I'm losing that fact in the story from the staff. It seems that ever since C19, organizations are not putting any type of funding or interest in training their employees and helping these employees develop, because these stories get more and more bizarre every week. Didn't we just have a bathroom monitor? Was it the beginning of this week? And now we have, and I mean, this has been a story that's always minority patients being denied medical attention, but he shouldn't have to prove that he's a celebrity. And if he was not, then what? They were just going to keep him in a straitjacket. I'm missing in the story, did he act up? Did he behave in a way that also added to the frustration level?
He did. So I researched this a little bit more. So I think what their issue was, I guess, because the Four Tops is a group, like he's 54, I believe he is, right? So I think he
That's
came
young.
in from the door saying that, I'm part of the Four Tops group, and maybe they think like, please, like you wouldn't even be alive or whatever, or you would be older maybe if you were. So they just didn't believe him from the door, so they felt that he was crazy trying to claim he was a celebrity. So once they thought they took that diagnosis in their head, they automatically ordered a psych evaluation and put him in a straitjacket, and wanted to take his phone and all of that. And they had him in a straitjacket and took the oxygen off of him, and he needed, he needed it to breathe, because they was like, we can't do anything with you until we do this psych val. And that's why he kept, after he told him that's why he kept trying to prove, like, I am who I say I am. And I can't believe you want to do a psych evaluation on me because nothing is wrong with my head. So that's a little bit more to the story.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for that, Diva. I was missing that in the story. I just think organizations, and it doesn't matter what field, whether it's private sector or government or public, organizations have to find this balance between traditional and virtual. And I mean, I know they had access to a computer where they could have easily looked this up and find ways to provide more effective and accessible training for their staff, because these stories get more and more bizarre, and it's unfortunate.
It is. You're right. They could have Googled his name. I didn't even think about that. You are correct. Felicia, you're up.
Thank you. So I'm missing so much from this. I'm not understanding. You're having a heart attack, but there's this long discussion about who you are and so forth and so on. So my takeaway was that he didn't have any health insurance and he didn't have a medical card or something. And they were debating whether or not they wanted to admit him and take on possibly the cost of that. And so it resulted in things going left, very left. And he finds himself here. So maybe he owes them money and he says, I'm going to sue because I'm not paying. Mm-hmm. I looked up this hospital. Ascension Hospital is one of the largest private healthcare systems in the United States, ranking second by the number of hospitals as of 2019. Its net income is $5.7 billion, and the number of employees is 142,000. So they have bills to pay. And I gather being private, as I'm learning from particularly post-pandemic, they ask you if you're able to speak, if you have health insurance and what kind. And maybe that's where this whole thing started and just unraveled and became a very ugly situation. I'm glad he's doing better, though. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm coming to you, but before I do, just give me 1 second. Let me share screen. Let's show this.
About a little over a year ago, you had symptoms of a heart attack. So pick it up there as you go to the hospital.
Easter weekend, my wife and I were spending time with our daughters. I took ill, called EMS. During the process of the intake, when I was asked about my employment, I stated that I was one of the members of the Four Tops from Motown, and that my position within the group was as lead singer, standing in for Levi Stubbs. Pretty soon, they rolled me out into the hallway, which is where I remained for close to 3 hours or a little more. I'm asking for oxygen, asking for a blanket because I was cold. The emergency room doctor comes to me, asks me, Mr. Morris, what brings you in today? I give him my medical history. He said, well, he said, all right, well, thank you. He said, we'll get some tests going and we're going to get you evaluated. They take me back into the triage room again, and there's a security guard that is standing there. I was asked to render my jewelry and everything to them. And I said, well, no, I said, my wife is in the waiting room. I'll give that to her. He said, well, fine. What does she have on? They went to go get her. Then he asked for my cell phone. And I said, no, I'm going to keep my phone with me. He said, no, you're going to put the cell phone in the bag. I said, I've been in the hospital enough. I've never had someone take my cell phone from me. He said, you'll get all your stuff back once you come back from psych eval. At the time,
psych eval? Whoa. Where did psych eval? What?
Psych evaluation.
Did he explain what? I'm sure you asked at that point.
I'm kind of thrown off because I said to him, psych eval. I said, I honestly thought that they had me mixed up with another patient. And then it kind of dawned on me. And about this time, my wife walked in the room and I waved her to me. I said, these folks think that I'm delusional because I said I'm a 4 top. And so I said to the gentleman, I said, officer, I said, if you don't mind, I said, can I please show you something? His response to me was, nothing you have do I want to see or do I need to see? They had taken me out of my clothing. I initially went to put on a regular hospital gown. That was taken off of me and I was put into what is called a restraint gown, which goes from here all the way down to your calves, right above your ankles.
So
And
is that like a straitjacket?
It's like a straitjacket. There was a nurse and I asked her, could I please show her something? And she said, give me 5 minutes. She leaves out, she comes back in. She says, Mr. Morris, what do you want to show me? And I pulled up my Facebook page and showed her a video of Four Tops singing at the Grammys honoring Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy for the Music Cares charity event. And she says, oh my God, that's really you, that's you. And she tears off through the emergency room. Next thing I know, about 3 minutes later, her and this doctor come back in the room and he comes in waving off to me saying, Mr. Morris, we don't need, I've canceled the psych eval. You don't need that. I've canceled it. We're going to get you out of that gown, get you into a regular gown and into a different room.
How many days did you end up being in that hospital?
I was in that hospital 5 days.
Did anyone from the hospital come to you offering an apology, offering some explanation for what had happened the day you got there?
I had to fight to get them to bring someone of authority for me to even make a grievance. And when I asked for a copy of the grievance, I was told by the nurse that she does not give reports of her grievances to the patients. And she then proceeds to turn her back and then turns around to me and says, but Mr. Morris, we would like to just give you something from us to you for the mishap, the miscommunication or misinformation that was received. We just want to, give you something, just a token to let you know that, all is well. And she proceeded to hand me a $25 gift card to Myers. It doesn't matter a person's color, creed, nationality, ethnicity, orientation, or what have you. A human life is worth more than $25. I don't care if a person is homeless or has status in the community or no status at all.
So let me just give some insight and let me just X out of this because I don't want it to play in the background. Let me give some insight. And all you out there, if you work in a hospital, you know what I'm talking about. When somebody comes into the ER and they're considered a VIP, right? They do want it to be known. And, life is life. I'll just tell the truth. It is what it is. They will call the floor that they're about to send you on and say, a VIP is coming. Okay. And y'all take it from there, how the VIP is going to get treated. So He said himself, he's been to the hospital a lot. He has known heart issues. So he knows that when he's a known VIP, automatically he's going to get a higher level of treatment. So he rolled up in there trying to let them know he was a VIP pretty much. And they pretty much was like, we don't believe you, we don't care. But the way he was treated either way was a whole hot mess. You're up.
I can see this in several different ways. And thank you for explaining the VIP treatment. Like you said, life is life. Now, I'm someone who had never heard of the Four Tops before. I never heard of them. So if he would have told me that, I would not have known what to do with that information. However, if you say that you are a musician, to me, that's fine. You document the information and then you keep going. So I guess this is a part of the VIP experience. They couldn't validate his VIP information. Is that right?
That's the way, yeah.
Well, thankfully his wife was there. Thankfully he had the pictures and the videos on his cell phone and he got it rectified. I do think that it is an insult to give someone a $25 gift card. I do think that is an admission of guilt. I do think it is just tacky to do. And really, the woman who is the nurse who he said she's not allowed to give the grievances, I didn't know that you would discuss your grievances with the nurse. I understand you can leave a report, but I always thought that those types of things went to the executive office. And when you are speaking with them, I believe because at least the hospitals I've gone to, when you go to their page, there is a way where you can submit feedback, and when you put your email address in there, you will get a notification of what you have written, and then when they respond, it's just like an email thread. And so that's what I particularly prefer, but I can understand why they would be skeptical to give that to him, because again, it's a slippery situation. But I am happy that they got him in, they got him taken care of. I don't know, it's slippery.
It's messy. First of all, with heart problems off the bat, as soon as you say you got heart issues and that's what you're coming in for, it's a whole nother protocol that should have happened. Somebody put it in there. He could have died.
Correct.
He could have died. So anytime you go to emergency room, and he didn't just go to emergency room, he was brought there by the EMTs. So the whole onset of their situation, they were messy. I feel like they was judging him from the door because the EMTs picked him up. He didn't come through there to ER, and all the paperwork from the door should have said that this man had heart problems, and that's why he was there. But because he wanted to do his VIP status, and I'm not saying this is all on his back or whatever, because he wanted to do that, they just assumed, they looked at him and said, okay, this man is crazy. He's trying to act like he's some celebrity. And they went from there instead of maybe simultaneously dealing with the issue he said at hand he came in with. But if he's talking and he's ready to just confirm his celebrity status, then maybe they're thinking, okay, how much of a heart attack are you really having? Either way, they were the professionals. They were the doctors. They were wrong. They should have dealt with his primary diagnosis and made the psych thing secondary, right? They should have did all the tests regarding his heart and made the psych thing secondary, because as soon as they confirmed who he was, now you dropped it and you don't need psych anymore, they were being messy. Tay, you're up.
If I was him, I would sue the hospital because one, you think I need a treatment, and two, you didn't know what group I was in. Yeah, if I was here, I would sue them. That's all, Diva.
Thank you, Tay. Julius, you're up.
So I have seen this kind of treatment with my own mom. And I'm going to name the hospital. She worked at Bay State here in Western Massachusetts for 15 years. And my dad just retired this past February. And she had to have emergency surgery. And she was on the recovery floor. And them girls did not give her the time of day. I'm like, excuse me, my mother needs this and this and that. And they're like, well, how does she know all of that? I'm like, well, she's worked here for 15 years. They're like, well, I'm like, yes. So they decided to still not do that until my dad went and got one of his co-workers who was a sub on the floor that day, and she put Ish in check. They even discriminate against former people who have worked. Doesn't matter if they're phlebotomists, nurses, whatever. He has a good case. And he'll win. He will win his case. Because I'm telling you, they do this to... I seen it with my mom, and she was brokenhearted. She has PTSD from it. And when she had to go in for a routine surgery, you know what she said? Please don't put me back on that floor. And I can understand why, because they did not care about the patients. They will be sitting at a nurse's station not giving a care in the world. So I wholeheartedly stand with this gentleman and support where he's coming from, because I seen it firsthand.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Julius. Q, thank you so much for the super chat. It's sad, but he probably has learned that he has to take advantage of VIP to get some decent care. That is probably so. In my opinion, he was just trying to work the system so he could be taken care quickly. He probably just trying to work the system to get VIP care. Because like I said, once you say something with the heart and you can't breathe, that's priority. If you go in a packed emergency room, somebody got a cut on their knee, somebody might have broken their arm, somebody might have a stomach pain. They triage those diagnoses, and you are going to be called back accordingly. It could be 50 people sitting in the ER. If I come in that ER and I say I got chest pain, boom, I'm trumping everybody else in that ER. It's a point blank in the period. So that's why I said he came in through the EMT. Already, because you come in that way, they're not going to put you back in the hallway with the rest of the people. You're going straight to triage when you come off the rig. So he off the back was going to be a priority. So they was doing some form of discrimination, and at the same time, he was trying to let them know he was a VIP, because he know that in addition to that, he's going to get extra special treatment. They were being messy. 48, you're up.
Okay, so my thing is I could walk in there and say I'm Beyonce. If I'm not causing any danger, no harm to nobody, I don't get why they did all of that. It was just, to me, unnecessary. And that $25 grocery store gift card is going to cost them about 800,000 Visa gift cards.
Come on now.
So yeah, that's all I got.
I appreciate you. Dadon, you're up.
There are some missing parts to this story, because like you said, Diva, when you come off of a ambulance, you go directly to a room. You get direct treatment when you come off of an ambulance. Being treated from an ambulance rather than a walk-in is two totally different scenarios.
That is facts.
For anybody who've worked in medical anything, you know that off top. I think that his bravado got the best of him. When you went in there, instead of getting treatment, just like E said, she didn't even know who the Four Tops was. There are a lot of people who don't know who you are, sir. So instead of getting treatment, you tried to go to the penthouse room, private room, trying to boast yourself up. And then you end up not getting anything. And then you said something key, Diva. You're doing all this yelling about who you are. What about your heart?
Mm-hmm.
These people are literally, in my mind, saying, oh, ain't nothing wrong with his heart, because he hollering, he VIP. He worried about his VIP treatment rather than us hooking up an EKG machine to him.
Right.
So that's why I said and they did mishandle him with the psych eval and strapping him up and, doing all of that. Yes, they did. but I do feel he holds some responsibility in this too,
He does.
because he would have been getting treatment coming off of the ER. You're getting treatment when they push you down the hall.
That's right. It's facts.
So there's some gaps in his story. Something is missing. And maybe when discovery comes out, we'll find what it is. But there's a little bit blame to go on every side here.
It is, but where
Diva,
they
can I
messed
share
up,
something?
yeah, I'll let you say something. Give me 1 minute. Where they really messed up though is they went straight to a psych eval.
Yeah, and that gift card is where they messed up too.
And that gift card.
Yeah,
that's where he's gonna win this thing. You went straight to a psych eval. No, what you should have did was, if you really thought he was crazy, you should have ran every test for his original diagnosis, what he said was his heart. When that all would have came back clear, then you could roll with something ain't right with him. Let's do a psych eval. But off the bat, they went to this psych eval. They messed up. Go ahead, Julius. Then I'm coming away.
So I have to say that doesn't happen all the time in hospitals, that they're taken right away. And the reason why that I say that is because I knew an elderly gentleman that I used to go to church with. And the hospital that I named when I originally spoke, he went to that said hospital via ambulance because he was having a heart attack. And they had him waiting 30 minutes to be seen. 30 minutes in the hallway. And it took a very charismatic intake person to just ask him one question. And she's like, "Oh no, hold on." And he said, and unfortunately he's passed away. He's no longer with us.
Well, Julius, not to cut you off because I want to get to Wayne, but that hospital was out of protocol.
Absolutely. And
I'm telling you off the bat, chest pain trumps everything.
Absolutely.
Everything. Unless, you coming in with a pow wound or something like that. But chest pain is on the top of the list. Let me just roll to Wayne. Wayne, you're up.
It's a shame that you have to mention that you have some kind of status to get served, get some kind of a service. And I'm thinking that, if he knew he was having a heart attack or whatever, and figure he'd just throw that VIP in, maybe he would get seen sooner. But what you're saying is absolutely correct, because I went in the hospital. I walked in the hospital. And when they say, "Oh, you need a wheelchair?" I said, "Oh, no, I'm fine." You just say, "Oh, well, what brings you in?" I said, "Oh, just my chest." You would have thought the world stopped. Wheelchairs come flying and everything. And I was on the EKG, but he should have gotten, even if he didn't know he was having a heart attack, he should have gotten immediate attention. One coming off that truck, that ambulance, it should have been right to something where, immediate care right then and there. So something's going on. Because hospitals can get sued if they don't provide treatment that's supposed to be given right away. And they can't turn anybody away. The workers there, they need some kind of remedial training, because the one guy had no kind of bedside manners.
Sit your
you
black
don't talk to people like that. They're already in stress. And now you're talking to them like that. And now he has to tell them this and bring out all that, and it was the assumption that he had maybe some kind of mental problem. So they give him the things. How do you do that? How do you judge somebody by that? He didn't have erratic behavior or anything. I don't know what kind of hospital this is, and they may have bills to pay, but you sure can't do it this way.
They're going to give up some of their money, though, besides that $25 gift card, like 48 said. Katrina, you're up.
Has he ever been to that hospital before? Did he ever say he went to the hospital before?
I don't know.
Okay, but if he's coming off if the paramedic is bringing him in, how is he talking to the security guard? Because normally if the paramedic is bringing you in and you going straight to the back, And if you telling them that you got chest pain, of course, Diva, you're right. If you tell them you got chest pain and you having you having pains going down your left arm, automatically they taking you to the back. They doing an EKG. They doing this to make sure everything is correct. So if he telling them this, how the security guard gets in the back? I know security guard can come in there, but what I'm trying to get to is, if he's having a heart attack, shouldn't the doctors and stuff been in the room from the get go? Because when you come with a heart, when you saying you having chest pains and all that, they're gonna run the tests and stuff on you, but they're gonna get to you first, especially if you coming out the EMT. The only way you go out into the EMT if the rooms are full and they tell them that they don't they're not as serious. That's the only way the EMT will bring you out into the lobby. And another thing is by with the hospital system. I've seen this happen plenty of times. It depends on your insurance. If you got Blue Cross Blue Shield, TRICARE, or whatsoever Humana, you're gonna get seen first. If a person got Medicaid, they're gonna be sitting out in that lobby for a while. Not because their issues is not serious. It's because they get you in by your insurance, which is totally wrong. And another thing, it doesn't take all those
That's
hours.
not every hospital though. That's
Not every hospital, but most of them. It doesn't take 4 to 6 hours for a person to sit in an emergency room, because the longer you sit in an emergency room, the more time they draining your insurance card. And another thing they do, and this is not a racist thing, I have seen people come into the hospital with wound packs, and this color person, they don't give them exactly everything they need for pain. I've seen people come in the hospital with a broken finger, and they on I can't say the name of the medicine, but they on the D medicine, D, and you know what that is. And but they're not giving this person medicine and have a wound back, but you giving this person this amount of money, this amount of medicine, and they got a broken finger. So I have seen it. I have seen it all. And like I said, hopefully he gets exactly what he's got coming to him. And yes, sometimes nurses do listen to grievance, but he needs to take that to the hospital administrator. He should have called them while he was in there. Y'all need to come into my room, and I need to tell y'all exactly what happened.
He asked for them. He asked for them, and they was trying to avoid it. So
Yeah,
that's
and they should have came in
the
there.
other part of them knowing they did something wrong down in
There
that.
you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Because I had the situation.
they wanted to avoid him speaking to somebody. They were trying to
Yeah.
rectify it without taking it to a higher level. So one, just so everybody knows out there, you can always ask for a patient advocate, because all hospitals should have them, right?
Yep.
In addition to that, no matter what he was trying to do with his celebrity status or whatever the case may be, there's some protocols that I feel personally, from what I'm hearing, that they overlook, they miss, and that's going to cost them big time. They did do some type of judgment, because and it starts with the doctor. The doctor had to order the psych eval, and so once the nurse that he spoke to left the room and said he is who he said he was, the doctor came back in the room and said, we're canceling the psych eval. We're going to run this test, that test, so forth and so on. So the whole thing was just messy. And then in addition to that, just information. It has nothing to do with his particular story. Every hospital has charity care, and is based on your income. And no matter who you are, when you walk into an emergency room, the law is slipping my mind right now, but there's a law, whether you have insurance or not, and you have they have to take care of you. They just have to make sure you're stable before they release you, but they do have to take care of you, and that is a law. So you can have zero insurance, right? And so they have to offer you some charity care. In every single hospital now, what they do is they send the intake person in, and you could be half breathing or whatever. The intake person comes in, because the intake person is not usually a clinical person. They're just doing their job. So they'll come in, ask you, do you have insurance? They get all your insurance. They get all the information they can from you. They ask you your occupation. And if you have a copay, they'd be like, do you want to pay it now, or do you want us to bill you? So there are some protocols that happen. All I could say is this: they missed a lot of them. And that's going to cost them, not him. Whether he was playing the game or not, it's going to cost them, right? Thank you, Felicia. Thank you. It's also known as indigent care, because because to talk about insurance, yeah. All I can say is they messed up and it's messy. So did I catch everybody before I move on to the last story? Can y'all please hit the like button while you're sitting here enjoying trending topics on Thursday night? So listen, let's roll into this last story. And this last story has to do with a teacher. I don't know what's going on with the teachers. If y'all know a teacher out there, ask them if they good. What's going on? This is a coach, okay? So he's a coach. He's a teacher at the school. Something happened between him and the student. But either way, no matter what this student did or did not do, the teacher is in trouble because he put his hands on the student. And all I could say is, how messy is that? Let me make sure I didn't close out on what I want to show here. Let's see. No, it's there.
At your middle school earlier this month involving your coach. How are you feeling right now?
Kind of mad and sad at the same time.
And it's definitely understandable. And what happened? Like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And I got back pain and my back's hurting real bad.
Sorry to hear that, sweetie. And can you like tell us what happens? Like, I mean, of course, everybody's seen the video. It's gone viral, the incident. But can you tell us what happens? What brought this up?
Yeah. So what happened? It was me and this girl was horse playing, and Mr. He wanted me to do push-ups. He wanted me to do 20 at first, and I kept telling him I couldn't because my hand was bent and I couldn't move it for a minute, so I couldn't do it. I couldn't do push-ups, and he kept saying, I don't care, do the push-ups. And I kept saying I couldn't. Then he said do 40, so I just walked into my class because I was frustrated because I kept trying to tell him that my hand was messed up, but he wouldn't listen. So I walked into class. A few seconds later, he come in there after me talking about, didn't I tell you to do the push-ups? He didn't tell the teacher that he needed me. He just brought me out the classroom. Then when we was out of the classroom, nobody was by us for a second. He kept calling me P words, B words, all that, and kept telling me I'm a beat your A word. And then I said, don't touch me. He kept saying, or what, tapping my shoulder, and kept calling me names. Then he pushed me, and I pushed him back. And then I walk away to because I was frustrated. De-escalate. Then he walks up behind me and chokes me with a shirt.
And was this like the first time like you guys ever had like a heated altercation at the school?
No.
Coach is no longer an employee at the school after your incident. How do you feel about that? Him no longer being an employee at your school?
Good, because I didn't want him to hurt no more students.
Okay. And what do you plan on doing now? I know you've spoken to a lawyer. What are the next steps? I don't know if your mom wants to answer this, but what are the next steps after this incident?
Because it's summertime, we're going to determine if Michael will return to that school, just because of, just certain situations. So we have time to kind of think about it and get Michael the help he needs because he is very defensive now. Anytime somebody's walking towards him or behind him, he's been in the house, he's been withdrawn. And just, getting him the help he needs, some counseling.
Definitely, I definitely understand. I hope you do get the help that you need. And you mentioned your back pain. Have you guys seen a doctor?
Yes.
Is there anything else that was injured? I'm sorry?
Well, Michael suffers from asthma. So, that was one of the big things that coach knew, that, he had, some breathing problems anyway. So, it's just, it's been big for us. And it's been traumatic, and we're just trying to, get Michael together so Michael can go back out here and be a productive citizen, and be a productive kid, and do what he needs to do.
But he is going to see his doctor about the back pain and seek
counsel. He did.
Right. I totally agree with that.
And he's gonna follow up with physical therapy. That's the next recommendation for that.
I mean, we want to hold the school accountable because, based off of our preliminary investigation, it appears that, the school knew or should have known that, shouldn't have been around children, and this should not have happened to Mike. And, we're glad he's no longer there, but the school needs to be held accountable. They have a duty to protect these children, make sure they have a safe environment for these children to learn. And, that includes providing adequate training to their staff and conducting background checks and ensuring that the personnel that they have there, have these children safety as the utmost importance. And what really and we spoke about this before, what really bothers me about that video is you can see there's another school administrator in the video that witnessed it and did not intervene, even though the assault was violent. Everyone saw it, which is why it's going viral, of how violent it was. He didn't intervene. He didn't try to stop it. He didn't scold for what he did. And that, is very upsetting to watch as as an attorney and as a parent myself. It's unacceptable.
Very much so. I agree.
It's very upsetting. It's really doing numbers in my head. So it's just unbelievable.
Definitely. And Jordan, what are you guys planning to do? What are the next steps after this?
We're going to be filing a lawsuit. We received a police report today, and we have the video. Obviously, we're still gathering evidence as far as we want to speak to other witnesses that have previous interactions with. But we will be filing a lawsuit shortly. And if the school wants to have a dialogue early, that's fine. But if not, we're ready to litigate the matter in court.
This teacher's done. They set the stage. I'm not going to show the video. I think I put the link of this in there. You can see the video of him doing it. Savannah, you're up.
So I haven't seen this video yet, Diva, but the young man started his story with saying that he and a female student were horse playing in the classroom, I take it, and the coach teacher was asking them to settle down or in their seats or whatever it may be. So my first question is that what is he doing being disruptive in the classroom?
Boom.
To begin with? Because this, and he himself said it, that this isn't the first incident that he's had with this teacher or coach. So this young man, there seems to be some onus of what happened here. I'm not buying it. I'm not. Teachers have it hard enough as it is, with not just the low pay, but the lack of support from the administration and parents, because it takes a partnership of a parent and an educator in order to produce a strong, well-rounded student. And and then there's, as of lately, safety issues. So I just think there's more to this story that we're not hearing. Everyone, even the news reporters, coddling little Jaden or whatever his name is, and now they're going to sue the district, and the school's going to lose some funding. Programs are going to be obsolete because this young man did not know how to behave in a proper way during school hours, and how to adhere to an adult. So I'm not buying it, Diva. I'm sick of this generation, and I haven't seen the video. I'll go back and see the video. Of course, the teacher is wrong. Do not get the teacher is wrong for. I thought you said, I heard choking the student, putting his hands on the student. Period. But the young man should have kept his tail on his seat and horsing around in the classroom, while the teacher's trying to instruct. That is absolutely on the student, and that's where the story starts. There, let's start there.
Yeah, unfortunately though, the kid had no self-control, but neither did the teacher. And it's similar to this hospital situation. It might have been a patient that had some wrongdoings in the situation, but you, the professional, should have known better, and now you're done. So let me share a screen really quickly again. Where do I want to play? I wanted to play. Is this the one I want to show? I think this is it here. That's him. That's the teacher. I don't want to show the whole thing, but y'all could go see it. So the teacher has a shirt and comes behind him and does that.
So was he asked to leave the classroom, or he just took it upon himself to walk the halls?
There may be more to the story, but at the end of the day, Savannah, you can't come up behind the student and put no shirt around their neck and yoke them up like that. Let's just hear his dad.
Disgusted by this whole thing. We're just disgusted by this whole thing. And as a man and as a father, we're taught to intervene and break up situations like that. And as Jordan was saying a few moments ago, it's unbelievable that the school administrator that was there did nothing. I just can't believe that. We want justice, and we want Mike to receive the support and love and help that he needs so we can go forward with this. We want him to get back to who he was before this happened.
So it's almost like regardless of what did or didn't happen, the parents are setting a stage, and they're setting like a $20-30 million stage. They're saying the kid, and I'm not saying the kid is not, they're saying he's devastated. He's not even who he said he was anymore. This, that, and the other. Felicia, you're up.
Well, good Lord have mercy. You know what? Jordan's parents locked both of them up. Okay, let me give you all some data. Okay, let me come in here with the numbers. Pardon me because I'm unable to pronounce the name of this school. I think it's Yessalante Community Middle School. This school is ranked 517 out of 689 schools in that district. The student population for the middle school is 412 kids from grades 5 through 8. 3% of the students scored at or above the proficient level in math. 3%. So that's 20-something kids. 12% scored at or above the level for reading. So that's 41. The teacher-student ratio is 15-1, which is worse than that of any others in the district. The school enrolls 79% economically disadvantaged students. There are 27 equivalent full-time teachers. And hold on, everybody, only one full-time school counselor. When I talk about a failing school, this is it. Their reading performances are all from grades K through 12, well below expectations in this district on a whole. And their math performances are somewhat below expectations. There is a large percentage of crimes in this school. Yeah. So if you or someone in your family has a child in this school, please don't go back there in September. Please don't. There are other schools doing far better than this school in terms of performance. I think, Savannah, for me, you were spot on. You were horsing around with some girl. You want to talk about assault? Okay, let's talk about assault. The teacher asked you once, twice. Then you say you had something wrong with your hand, why you couldn't do 5 push-ups, 10 push-ups, 20 push-ups. He wasn't listening to you, and you walk off. And because we're in a non-performing school, a school with only one counselor, over 400 children being failed and failed every day, what we know is aggression and violence and disrespect. And so your teacher, the leader, responds as to the environment that he or she is in. This is why when you have schools where the numbers, the data is telling you we're not performing, you can then take that same data and translate it to what's going on in there every day in that environment. So you got a teacher who's incredibly out of bounds and a young person who doesn't understand that they too are out of bounds, are horsing around. I don't like it. And you didn't listen when you were asked to stop, and then you're asked to do some push-ups. This is your coach, but your hand is busted and your coach don't care. Everything says this is an unhappy, unhealthy place to be raising young people. And then your mother comes up behind you like she's not influencing you. And when you're asked about what are your injuries, she begins to rub your back. And then you say, oh, it's my back. Oh, no. Mommy and daddy are out of bounds too. They're out of order. No, the state, the people of Michigan are not going to be funding your new lifestyle. No, you should not be wanting to go back there. You need to put Jordan in a more structured, more controlled environment. If he has athletic ability, you put him where his interests are. If they have good basic structure in curriculum, he needs to be there. And if I were his parents, I probably would put him in a single-sex school so you're not horsing around with no girls no more in the hallway. I'm done.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Felicia. I'm going to go this way. Dawn, you're up.
Ooh, Felicia, you said I 1000% agree with you. How all of a sudden your hand hurting, but you had enough strength to muster around this girl. But all of a sudden your hand hurting. And then your mother in the background accompanying you with this, yes, the teacher was wrong, but I didn't hear her say, he held some accountability within his story. He sat there and told the person interviewing him, I put my hands on a girl. And the mama didn't say one word about that. But when it came time for the money, let me massage your back because that's hurting. I read right through this as soon as you start reading this story, Diva. The teacher was wrong, but he probably was fed up with the behavior. The teacher shouldn't put their hands on the children. But these kids now are bad as hell. And his parents aren't doing anything about it because neither one of them said any accountability with him putting his hands on this girl. But your hand hurting when they ask you to do the punishment all of a sudden. I 1000% agree with you, Felicia. There's some shaky business behind this. We did not get the whole story.
Yeah, I hear y'all, but unfortunately, the fact that the teacher put that T-shirt around his neck, the backstory gets trumped. It trumps the backstory because this teacher, and then they're calling out the other administrator that didn't do anything. This school is about to get raped across the coals.
If I may, Diva, that's what goes on in jail every day. You got the correction officer and their supervisor, and they're watching this kind of violence, this kind of aggression go on all day. This is the environment in this school. Do you think this kid is the only kid that ever happened to?
No, but this kid that got caught on camera, and he got the parents that he got, and mom is coaching him. But the whole thing was coached by mom. His back hurt, his head hurt. He ain't the same person. He ain't going outside. The mother even changed the word that he said in the interview. You was trying to de-escalate. Listen, I already see what's going on. They're trying to look at 30, 40 million at best. I know they're not going to come low because they acting as if he was the saint that this one incident turned his whole life around and destroyed him to the point where he don't even want to walk outside. All I'm saying is, I'm not saying that obviously he was doing something right, but here's the thing, I'm gonna back this up to the teacher yet again. What I'm confused about is how you what was I gonna say? How his punishment was going to be push-ups. If he was doing something real to this girl, why didn't he go straight to the principal office?
Because he's the coach.
You still send him to the principal office, but so you don't know how to handle it either, because you went and go choke them up. So
I said that, Diva. I said that. But you also have to remember, Jordan said he struck the teacher. You know, there's a lot playing.
Say that.
I did. He said he pushed the teacher. Anybody else hear that?
Oh, he did say he pushed the teacher.
Okay.
He did.
Okay. So there's a lot happening here. And I'm not saying this family doesn't have a lawsuit, and I'm not saying the teacher was incorrect, out of bounds, unprofessional. But I'm talking holistically about this entire school. I never have to step foot in it to know that nothing good is going on in there.
No, I don't disagree, but you know what? If you are a worker in an environment that's not good, are you going to become that environment, or do you leave, or do you? I got so many people in the time is late. E, I didn't mean. Did I skip you, E?
You did.
Okay, go.
You know, I'm speaking as a mom with a 7-year-old, and I agree with Savannah. This big old boy, horse playing around, and in my experience, what that looks like, when you're horse playing around with a little girl, you're hitting each other, and of course, boys hit harder than girls. Sometimes girls can get a good one in, but most of the time the boys, that's not an ideal situation. Nothing was wrong with your hand then when you were horse playing around instead of doing your work. And why weren't you doing your work? You weren't doing your work because you can't do your work. So the teacher couldn't get the kids to settle down. And I'm going to step out on a limb and say this was a female teacher, because most teachers who are in the classroom are females. And so Felicia said the boy put his hands on the teacher. The teacher is not able to control this situation. And I feel like we also have to be realistic when we say what the teachers can do in the classroom, because I've said this before. If little Johnny, you can't control him at your house, what do you think a teacher can do at the schoolhouse with 15 other little Johnnies in the classroom? Yes, the teacher is the adult, but however, if your child lacks structure in your community, why do you think they're going to come to a public school and be orderly? So if you won't listen to the female teacher, I'm assuming that the admin was called, because the admin is on the tape. The admin is not intervening because the coach is there. And what I got from that, because this is typical of most teachers, especially if you have an athlete, let the coach deal with it until we can simmer this down, because it's not that easy to say send them to the office, because maybe the administrator is not in the office, maybe they're on the meeting, maybe the administrator sent them back. If this is a failing school, we have to assume that none of the processes work as they are intended to, because they're failing. And if you only have one counselor, we must assume that you are not up to staff in many of your other departments. So this is why the coach is sitting there and saying you do push-ups, because I've seen that with my own two eyes. If the coach is telling you to do push-ups, this is a man-up activity. You think you a man? Okay, you finna get down here, you finna do these push-ups real quick. He said, the coach said this was, or not the coach, the student said this wasn't the first time he had a run-in with this coach. So what's going on where you keep getting sent to this coach, and this coach is having to run interference and pull you out of the classroom where you're not even succeeding? And I really was taken aback as to why that father was not on camera in the house. Yes, I'm going there, Diva. Why that mother was in that house over that boy with that attorney sitting to the side and that camera crew. And then when it's time to hear the father, he's coming in from his car on his cell phone. That whole situation is out of order, because you're listening to the mother in your house being coached, and I have to infer that the mother is leading that house. This is a big boy who needs to be under strong male leadership. This is why the teacher sent him to the coach. He needs strong male leadership. And the father can't be in the house with you when the camera crew come and the attorney, but he can go live from his car. No.
Because
Something
he
is
probably was on his way to the house. He probably don't even live there. But
if you knew the camera crew was coming, you be there early.
Listen, he knew his son was a whole menace at the school allegedly, and he ain't interviewed about that. They know this. They know they could rake in these dollars, and you know what? You want to bring people together, talk about some money. Listen.
Well, this is my thing, though. We can't. I want us to be realistic, because we understand that they may have the case. We understand that wasn't appropriate what that teacher did. We get that. But the bigger thing is that what this student did to kick up all of this commotion is being swept under the rug. He's being trained to lie, or he's being coached. Let me take that back. He's being coached to manipulate his words for the greater good of finances, and is being done in-house. It's being done in-house, and he's doing it on film. And if we can see through that here, and he thinks that he's getting away with that, imagine what this person is going to be like after high school. This is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare, but the teacher knew what school he was working in.
Oh, please.
He knew what school he was working in. He knew the environment of the kids he was working with. And if I take this out of the school for a minute, somebody can do whatever to you. But the minute they are running away from the situation or walking away from the situation, and then you go up behind them, you're done. You're done. He could have pushed this teacher, but the fact that he was walking away, going whatever, and this teacher ran after him, put this t-shirt around, he's done.
Yeah, I agree with that. But
and so we're saying that this kid is out of control, but the teachers are out of control too.
Well, the teacher, they'll move on, they'll get counselor, they'll get another job, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. It's this person here. And for the person in the comments who said, I don't know where he was coming from, I know he wasn't there for his son on time. I know he wasn't at the house before the camera crew came, and the camera crew set up, the attorneys told them what time the camera crew was going to be there. So if he's not in the house regularly, I meant what I said. Don't tell me I don't know where that man is coming from. The son don't know where his daddy is coming from either. How about that?
Oh my God, 48, you're out, because I'm on overtime here. Good gosh.
Okay, Diva. So I agree with everybody so far, but I really blame everything on the parents. I kind of had a similar situation with my ninth grader. in band, he was first chair, which is a big thing being a freshman, and voted most popular freshman. So he has some issues where I had to go up to the school and let them know, one, that his mother and father is in his life, and that we'll be up there and we expect a certain expectation of my son. I'll put it like this: if there was with my son, it was an incident where it caused a big commotion. It ended up being false, but my son actually called me, and he was like, "Mom, I need you to come up here because they're trying to say that I did this thing that I didn't do," and he needed me to be his advocate, and that's what I did. To me, that's the problem here. Like Savannah said in the beginning, the first problem was when a teacher tell you to do something, you do it. It's just with any person that of authority. The thing is to preserve your life and to preserve your freedom in any kind of situation that you're in. That's what I try to teach my sons, right? So, and then to another thing, never trust a woman with two face piercings. His mother had two face piercings. That's just, to give y'all,
Come on,
some
48.
advice. Don't trust a woman with two face piercings. And also, I knew that it was a problem, like Miss Felicia said, when he couldn't say de-escalate. He don't even know. He like Tony Evans. He don't know what he feel, what's going on. He just trying to get his parents paid. Now, this is my verdict for them. I think the teacher, yes, the teacher was wrong. It needs to be consequences for that teacher. But I don't think the consequences need to be financial for that boy's family. I think it should be criminal against the teacher, where he just like do some time for a simple assault or something, or whatever it is for a kid. But if I was a judge, I'd tell him to get the hell out of my face with this, because it makes no sense. You can't tell me, and Lord forgive me if I'm passing judgment on the little boy, but he don't look right. His mama don't look right. From what Miss Felicia say, the school ain't right. I just don't trust none of it.
I hear you, but let me throw this out there, and I'm rolling to Julius. It don't matter. So the kid said my hand hurt, and you want him to do push-up. In nursing, they say whatever the patient say, it is what it is.
But Diva, can I say this?
Wait 1 second. Your hand hurts, then you need to go to the nurse. I can't tell you to sit there and do some push-ups and your hand hurts. No matter how much I know or what I think is going on with you, I'm telling you that unfortunately, they about to rip this district to shreds with the cash. It don't matter if his hand didn't hurt when he was doing the horseplay. He could have hurt his hand while doing the horseplay with the girl. Don't know. But it doesn't even matter. What matters is I told the person in authority, after he told me my punishment is going to be XYZ, I said I can't do it because my hand hurt. Your hand hurt? Then I'm going to go. Let's go to the nurse. Come on now. You can't. I used to train customer service, and I told them, you need to know this. There's always one professional in the building, and it's you. Don't react to whatever this person is saying to you over the phone. You got to always maintain control. You never have to listen to anybody curse you out. But if they going off, don't even say nothing. Eventually, they're going to die out. But if you put fuel in the fire, then both of y'all going to be getting at it.
Do the school have a nurse?
Well, if the school don't, that all would have been on the school. The coach would be okay right now if he didn't react like the child. He's done. And now you're costing this school big money, because you see that lawyer there, that lawyer's on ready. That lawyer said that the school want to talk to us. In other words, he's saying that the school want to do a settlement before we take this any further. We'll talk to them. He said, we ready, because he know he got a case. And he know they're going to rake in the dough. They're going to rake in the dough. And they know that because that's why, he already went to the doctor for his back. Now he got emotional. Listen, y'all got me an OT here. Julius, you're up. Did I come to you, Julius, or did I skip you?
No.
Please be quick with your words. And I don't mean to cut you off. It's just because I'm in overtime. But go ahead. Talk to me.
So when I first heard the story, I had a PTSD due to my own experience. The teacher was wrong for what he did. And Diva, I agree with everything that you're saying. But I also agree with the other panelists. Where is the parents? The kid's whole entire environment not only failed this child, but all the other children at the school. And so karma's a coming. Karma is a coming. It's unfortunate.
Thank you. I appreciate you, Julius. Tay, you're up. 60 seconds.
I agree with everybody on the panel because that boy should know better. That's all, Diva.
I appreciate you. Katrina, you're up.
That's one reason why I would never be a teacher, because these kids these days, they don't have no structure and they don't have no discipline. They're thinking that they're growner than the teacher. The teacher are acting like the kids. And the thing of it is, I wish this guy would have never did what he did, but by him being a coach, he's trying to give the boy some discipline, because they saying that he's scared to go outside, he can't do this, doing that, which we already know. Yeah, you're gonna add all that stuff in it too, but we already know that's a lie, because looking at that boy, don't look like he's scared to do anything.
Come
And the
on.
thing of it is I'm just saying, he don't look like he's scared to do nothing. But there we go, we got that catch-22. The teacher not supposed to touch a student. That's what he messed up at. And like everybody was saying, the teacher was responding to how the school is. But they still put that rule in there, which I think they should have never did, that a teacher could not paddle a child. Since they asked for this, now these kids are outrageous. These kids do what they want to do. They ain't got no structure. They ain't got no discipline. And they think they grown than the teachers. And I hate that he did that, because he have messed up himself. Maybe he'll go to counseling. Maybe they give him probation or whatsoever. But he did cost the school to get a lawsuit. I mean, it's sad, but yeah. And it's totally sad. Because that boy, I guarantee you, he's been acting up in class in order for that teacher to be coming at him the way he was coming at him. That's all I got, Diva.
I appreciate you. Henry, we're on the same train car tonight. The coach met the kid where he was at, and now it's costing him everything. Wayne, you're up.
I'm with Felicia. Ain't nothing coming out of that school but some money. Somebody getting paid. All because an adult couldn't control himself.
I appreciate you, Wayne. Listen, if you want to leave, I totally understand, because we mad late. I'm going to show the feel-good story, but y'all probably ain't going to be feeling it tonight. Let me go ahead and play this real quick, and then we out. It's only 3 minutes, not even a whole 3 minutes.
Don't think people can change. Tonight, the story of a man who spent more than 2 decades behind bars, but refused to let that define him. CBS 2's Steve Overmeyer explains.
For Derek Lewis, his biggest worry right now is a delivery of provisions.
Hey, what's the status of the food?
Fortunately, it arrives with just enough time.
We got at least a half an hour.
Half an hour to cook for a graduation where he'll also be giving a speech.
Even though it's my life, it's just, I can't explain.
Derek's journey led him to prison for 21 years.
30 years ago, I was a very bad person. I got involved in a shooting. 2 people got shot and 1 person died. I have many regrets. I can't begin to tell you how sorry I am for the loss, the life that was lost.
He doesn't make excuses, just amends.
For so long, I took. Now I'm able to give back.
He also found that cooking has been cleansing. 15 years ago, Derek's lifeline was Project Renewal, a nonprofit with programs meant to empower lives of those who faced incarceration.
You come out, and there's so many barriers to getting employed. And this is one of the reasons we started the culinary training program, because there are so few barriers. We're trying to teach and support people as they learn how to work. You've pretty much then got your foot in the door. Then what do you do with it?
Now, Derek Lewis is the manager of City Beat Kitchens.
Every day I can wake up and come to work. Everybody looks at me, with respect. I got a name. You know, I'm proud of what I did. I'm proud of what I became.
The next challenge of the night is standing before this year's graduating class. Public speaking doesn't come naturally to him.
Bear with me, I'm a little nervous.
While he finds his composure,
Let me stand next to you.
a friend stood beside him, a supportive hand of encouragement, giving him a newfound resolve.
When people that you know for years come to you, they give you strength, they give you courage. I didn't let my past mistakes hinder me from achieving what I achieved today. Thank you.
You're welcome. Absolutely, baby. Absolutely.
And a reminder that sometimes our secret ingredient is a shared friendship that helps us savor the sweetness of life.
Project Renewal changed my life, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to give it back.
Change is possible.
Change is possible.
A teenage driver who caused the death of a
change is possible. Brown Eyes, I appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Good conversation, panel and family in the chat. I appreciate you. Listen, guys, I'm sorry for the OT, but we had a great conversation. 3 very good stories. Listen, if you didn't hit the like button on the way in, you know the routine. Hit the like button on the way out. I appreciate y'all. Good night and goodbye, everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow night for Trending Topics.